Welcome to week 7 of remote learning. I know it's hard to believe we've been doing it that long, but here we are. And we've got about one full week left and part of another week left. And we're still hanging in there at the Coates house. Um, I'm doing this in a Darth Vader mask today, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. Reason number one, they told us we might need to be ready to teach in a mask next year, wearing a mask, and so I'm just testing some of them out, and this one's actually kind of hot on the inside, so I don't know. I probably will not stick with this one, but for now it's good. A second reason is because you're reading these musicals or listening to them or watching them. Hopefully you're digging in and are past song number 1 now, and we're thinking about the theme of change and identity. And I think Vader is a good example of some of the essential questions that we are trying to think about, right? Which is, can a person change, right? And if you do change, are you a different person, or are you still the person that you were before, right? I was reading this book called, I got some props today, reading this book called Beartown, and it's really fantastic, highly recommend it. But there's a sequel that I've kind of jumped into, and on page 8 of the sequel, it posed the question I thought really well. One of the characters says to his mom, do you think it's possible to become a different person? She shakes her head, biting her bottom lip, and blinks so hard she can't see the road in front of her. She says, no, but it's possible to become a better person. And I kind of like that, and it kind of gets to the heart of what some of your musicals are about, right? Was Elphaba born wicked? Can she become better? When you look at and meet Jean Valjean, he's in prison, and can he ever overcome that stigma? Hamilton, right? An orphan immigrant who, as we know, rises and becomes a founding father, but how? How does a person change their lot in life and improve it? And then those questions of identity are tied in there still, right? Like, if I change, am I the person I changed into? Am I the person that I was? Does the past carry forward with you into the present? Those are great questions to wrestle with while you're reading, watching, and listening. So I hope that you do that. Vader is a pretty good symbol of that, right? Like he was a Jedi, right? I got another prop, this little Lego guy, right? Vader holding Vader. It's very meta, and it's cool because like all Lego things that are cool, his mask, I can do it right, lifts off, and you can see, I don't know if that's going to pop up on your screen. You can see him in here. This is Anakin, right? So he's a character who underwent pretty significant change from a Jedi to becoming a Sith Lord, right? And what sparked that change and that development? And is his true identity Anakin at the end when he saves, Luke, or is he still Vader, kind of the supreme bad guy? Those are interesting questions. So the third reason I thought the mask would work is because he's kind of a classic villain, right? And there are really great villains in some of your stories, whether it's Javert or the town in Oz or Aaron Burr, right? And don't forget about the villains as you think about these questions of change and identity, because they're really fascinating to follow, right? A lot of times a villain is a villain because they have at some point along the way refused to change, right? They're going to stay the way they are in spite of great harm coming to themselves. It's a stubbornness, right? It's an obsession that ultimately often leads to their downfall. I'm just checking my notes because I had a couple other things I wanted to catch. Yeah, as you're thinking about change, this week I'm going to have you dig into another song where maybe you can notice your character wrestling with one of those questions. And we'll use words like, what is their emotional why or their emotional want? What do they want? And most musicals are kind of about that at their heart. Like a character wants something so badly that they break out into song for it. And they go through this lot in life trying to get the thing that they can't have. And so how does that affect them? And just notice the motifs in your musicals as well. A motif is when there's a repetition of something. So like in Hamilton, his name, Alexander Hamilton, it'll get repeated at different points in the song, or he's not going to throw away his shot. That's going to get repeated. And they kind of layer and keep building back on each other. And you'll hear that phrasing and that repetition, 24601 in Les Mis. Those things will keep coming back. Okay, and so just kind of notice those motifs. It's a good chance to observe that. And just be heads up to the wordplay. I had you look at the text, context, and subtext. And again, Vader's a great example of this. You know, the text is kind of what we see on the outside. That subtext is the stuff beneath the surface, right? What's underneath the mask, if you will. And so I think the text, subtext, and context is really helpful to think about when you're analyzing and reading and listening this week. If you are not, trying to get this guy back on. It's hard in a mask. When you're not, if you are not reading and listening for the 15 minutes a day, you really should. I've been listening to Hadestown all week, sometimes while I'm working or driving or whatever. And first time through, I caught a few things. Second time through, I could start to sort through the plot a little bit better. Now I'm on my third time, and I can hear what the author is up to much better. And so don't give up on it. There's great video versions of some of them. Watch it, and dig in that way. Okay. I think those are the main things. Hang in there. This is the last week for Table Wars as well, so double check the standings. Connect with your team. Reach out to people, and let's try to finish up strong.